name is Josh Rivera. Raise your hand if you guys been here before. How many? Oh, it's gotta be from here. Welcome everybody to BSides San Antonio. Before we begin, we gotta do a quick shout out to all the sponsors. Well, the rest will be in the hand this time. Platinum that we have here, or Diamond, we'll start with Diamond. USA, St. Mary's, Platinum sponsors. We have here grateful sponsor Island, Toyota Food Systems, and Spectre House. And then now we're going to turn the stage over to Ryan Rosado, and then let's go ahead and give a round of applause.
All right, thank you. Again, everyone just shuffled in. I'm Ryan. I was up until 3 in the morning making these slides. There's 33 slides in 45 minutes, so we're going to get started now. I'm going to preface this with, I actually built this by hand and with my human mind, and of course, mostly from my own research. I had AI build an image or two. I had it summarize some of my speaking notes, but this is still me. So take that or leave it for what it is. Old-fashioned research, blood, sweat, and tears. Can everyone hear me okay? Triple checking, thank you. And while I did have a lot of people say, Ryan, just make the presentation with AI, I'll tell you, I actually tried to. I loaded in what I wanted, I gave it some examples, and I was really disappointed. So AI still can't replace me. Or maybe my prompt engineering sucks, but in the time it would have taken me to finalize the prompt engineering, I could have just done it the way I know how. So just wanted to put that out there. This is an AI crash course because I have run into people, especially last year, they're like, Ryan, what is machine learning? What is AI? What does this mean? What does that mean? I don't know where to start. I don't know how to jump into it. And I think our industry is waiting for some sort of formal okay, let's go. The race is started. I picture it like a marathon, but we don't know if you don't know AI. Is the marathon started? The race has begun. Why you're at the start line, I don't know. But I get it. It's hard to jump in. I had a lot of those feelings when I first jumped into it. I didn't know what it was, but a year ago, I heard what a GPU was for the first time. If you don't know what that is, that's okay. I'm going to get into it in a second. But now I know a little bit more about what a GPU is. So I did say I'm going to be really pressed for time, and I usually love questions, and I say interrupt me, but I am going to ask that you hold them to the end because I know if you are new to AI and you're in cyber, you're going to have questions, and we're going to figure it out together. We're just not going to do it in the next 45 minutes. We're going to figure out what we figure out, and then we're going to figure out what we need to figure out, and I'm going to leave you here hopefully with next steps, because everyone here probably has a little bit of a different background and probably a little bit of a different focus area because cybersecurity is a really big place. So this is me. Don't worry about me, forget about me. I'm just gonna tell you really quick. I'm not an expert. I'm not, but I've been learning about AI for a hot minute. And again, like I just said, I keep meeting people who don't know where to start. So I've started. I'd like to think if I'm in a marathon, I'm at mile 5 or mile 7. So if you're like, hey, I don't think I'm there yet, this is totally for you. Let's see. And even if I was an expert today, a year from now, if I didn't learn anything, I wouldn't be an expert anymore. So AI, just like cybersecurity, keeps evolving and changing. So if you haven't started, we need to start now. And you're doing it by being here. But we're gonna start with the foundations of what AI is, what machine learning is, what some of the other aspects of it, where cyber starts to come in, so that, again, you're not going to walk out of here an expert. You're just hopefully going to have better familiarity with the terminology and how it is impacting cybersecurity. Okay, so the biggest thing I'm going to start off, I just realized my slides did not change. I'm so sorry. That's me, like I said, don't worry about me. If you really want to know about me, check out my LinkedIn. If you like the sound of my voice, I've been on podcast. If you don't, listen and I'll put you to sleep. Okay, one of the biggest things about AI is everywhere. Everyone seems to be having FOMO. If they don't put the AI in their business now, they're gonna get left behind. They're afraid of being left out. People are doing the whole YOLO thing now with AI. But just like anything else, we need to define the problem. In cybersecurity, in order for it to be effective, right, we need to align to the business, right? We can't stop the business. One of the best analogies I've heard is cybersecurity is the brakes on a car, right? It's not because it stops the car. It allows that car to be a Corvette and go as fast as it possibly can, but when it safely needs to stop, it's there to stop. Because if you're driving a Corvette and you're going as fast as you need to go and the brakes don't work, it's a really bad day, right? So that's what we do in cyber. But with AI, people are putting it all over the place. Has it actually made the world better? Has anything actually gotten fixed? I'll be here to tell you it's actually made a few things worse, whether you know that or not. It has. And more importantly, the way to approach it is you need to, again, start with the business need. So us in cybersecurity, if you know what it's like to align to the business needs, AI needs to be the same way. Now, whether or not in your role you get to do that, that's gonna be a different story. Because from a cybersecurity perspective, we're here to secure the adoption of it. So the business is gonna identify whether or not they think AI is the solution. But we need to be here from the perspective of, hey, can we secure it? I find this really funny, also I'll just add, because especially after the pandemic, especially in cybersecurity, we all had to learn what cloud was, right? We had to learn how to secure it. I don't think you're gonna find a security analyst that doesn't know that we have cloud environments and knows some of the basics. What really keeps me up at night, what really surprises me is we haven't had that with AI. And so I know everyone is probably afraid that AI is gonna replace you, but it's only gonna replace you if you're not using it. So why is this actually important to us? Why should you be in this room? And it's not because you should just know AI. You should know a bunch of things, maybe, or you shouldn't, I don't care. But the way I see this, that I will add value, is we've all heard about a cyber gap, right? I just read this morning, and I was rechecking with some ChatGPT stuff on speaking notes, it's actually potentially up to 4.8 million people. But it's gonna get reset. By the way, fun fact, for people who love metrics in our profession, I always find it really odd that we're not measuring our progress. So do you measure salespeople on this? Do you measure CISSPs? Do you measure bachelors in cybersecurity? Because I promise you, I know people in cyber who don't even have one of those. Military veterans, you know, people who are I have known people who are CISOs that have a degree in biology. But for the record, the limited information I have found, and I've looked this up for a few years, is there's almost 5.5 million of us globally, which even surprises people because we're always told we're such a small industry. But why does that matter for AI? Am I talking too fast? I know I talk. Okay, cool. Just checking. Okay. By the way, I tried to make this image something totally different with ChatGPT last night. I almost had a fight with it, and I just gave up and dropped it. So, again, I was like, AI, you have failed me, and he's like, let me know, or she, I don't know, whatever. It said, let me know if you want to try again. I was like, I don't have the time or patience. This is some basic math. Again, why should we care about AI? I just told you the cyber gap might be as high as 4.8 million people. It is, in my mind, going to get reset to 9 because I just said, okay, we have a 3.5 million gap. We have 5.5 million people in it. If people don't know AI, that's 9 million people that don't know how to secure AI systems, but with the cybersecurity integrated to where it needs to be. So thank you for being here today. Hopefully we can make this, number. I know I not only want to make our cyber, gap number 0 because we know it is so needed. But that is another reason why we need to make sure that we're always learning what we need to be, learning and being open-minded and figuring out, hey, what's the next thing? Because I promise you, 10 years from now, it's probably gonna be another thing. I don't even know what it is yet, and I don't care. Because right now it's AI. Okay, so I was in the US Air Force as an intelligence analyst, and I think that's great if I do say so myself. Oh yeah, AI. Because I like to think of things I always talk to people like, okay, what is there to be? Data, information, and intelligence, right? Data is raw, it can be the temperature outside. Information can be like, well, is it normal or is it not normal for where we live? Information can be, there might be a tornado tonight, you need to take cover, right? It's timely. So in a similar way, I like to break down, okay, what is automation? What is AI? And I totally said, if you've heard me before, I've stolen some slides from some of the trainings I've gone to. I've asked. And they're here for you. I've gone to trainings, I've been reading books, and I'm trying to help you guys. So if this is new, you can use this too. Okay, I like how they broke it down. Automation, whether you code or not, it's gonna be rule-based. Okay, I'll give you an example. If you have a car or a truck or whatever you drive, electric or not, doesn't matter, and it says, hey, your tire pressure is low, there is a code somewhere that says, if this is the sensor that's reading, then pop this light up on the dashboard. Or if you're going a certain speed, and there's something in front of you at a certain distance, and they're like, hey, you might need to stop on the brakes. But nothing happens, just a light or a sound. AI makes decisions. These are the new little self-driving, freaking annoying cars that you see doing stupid stuff probably on YouTube channels. If you've been at RSA or even Austin now, we have the Waymos. Okay, these are the ones that make decisions. And we don't know what it decides. If it has to choose between keeping the person inside the vehicle safe or running someone over, That is a decision, okay? That someone had to set it to me based on some level of data. That's what AI is. People think that anything that's on a computer that is automated is, it must be AI. Oh, AI, it has a brain, it thinks for, no, it's code. I don't know what language it is, I don't care. It's code. If this, then that. That's how coding works. If you don't know that, I'm happy to also talk to you about that, but that's a whole other conversation. Also, pre-warning, every slide in my presentation today, I could have made into an individual presentation. Like, that is how deep and vast everything goes. So again, crash course. Appreciate you guys staying with me on this. I will also just highlight on this. AI is a broad concept, increasing and evolving its capabilities. It resembles the creation of intelligent computers that can mimic human cognitive processes. What I want to really step on is when it makes decisions, it can also make bad decisions. People think that because it's not a person, it doesn't have emotions, it didn't have a messed up childhood like half of us, that it's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be, no, because we had messed up childhood, or we had something bad happen, or we had some sexist or racist thing in our history, and that's still reflects in the data that we're throwing into AI. And I'm gonna get into that here, and trust me, if I had all day, I would talk to y'all all day about it, but we only have so much time. So I hope that this is helpful. I hope that this starts to break it down, but I need everyone to know what AI is not before we jump into it, so hopefully that gives us a good start. Let's get into AI. All right, so here's some terminology. My slide can change again. I'm sorry, I have like separate notes like. What is AI? This is literally where I get people who are like, Ryan, what is machine learning versus AI? What's the difference? And I'm like, okay, cool. So AI is the bigger encompassing, this is all in the realm of AI. Okay, if this is Disney World, these are the rides and machine learning. Machine learning is really like the engine underneath the hood. Machine learning is a subset of AI, and I have a lot of notes, so bear with me. It allows systems to learn from data instead of being explicitly programmed. That is the difference. That's what makes it different from automation. It also, so it finds patterns, it makes predictions, it takes actions based on experience, and the power lies in the training of real world data. Again, that's where the problems of the world come in. If you're training on real world data, you probably have real world problems, right? So finding high quality, unbiased, perfect data is a dream. Okay, let's just be clear. That is a dream. It is expensive and it is next to non-existent. Neural networks are a type of machine learning model. They really are like supposed to be how a brain works. That the way that they are aligned is really supposed to be how the same way that we think and make, analysis and make connections. And then deep learning takes neural networks a step further. It's a multi-layered network, for whatever it's worth, that can analyze very complex data like images, audio, or natural language. I'm going to get into this in about 5 minutes of what structured and unstructured data is, but it is very important to know that that is some of the magic of AI, is that it can go and analyze these unstructured data and big data, so a lot more data than normal. To me, natural language processing is what takes our human, interactions, our communications, and like, hey, I'm thinking this, make me into some superhero. I want to be a superhero cartoon in a JPEG, whatever, right? It's kind of like how a DNS works. You might say, hey, bring me to facebook.com, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna really go look up the IP address. That is what natural language processing is, and kind of the backbone with AI. Where security comes into this, and I know this is so sexy and exciting, that's why you guys are like, this is awesome. I'm getting you guys in your car coma and you're gonna fall asleep. It's fine. Again, it's fine. I might take a picture of it. It's cool. I get it. I'll let them know next time. I want first thing in the morning. Kidding. Securing of AI and machine learning is separate from using AI and machine learning in cyber, right? So people are gonna use AI and machine learning in healthcare. They're going to use it in legal. They're going to use everywhere. I just told you there's everyone who can use it is finding a place to use it. It's amazing how they never have budget for cybersecurity. Oh, but now we talk about AI and it's just to fix all of our problems. throw the budget out the window. You can have whatever you want if we can make it faster, better, prettier, even though what problem did it solve, right? And it only opened up more vulnerabilities and data leakage. Yeah, fun times. Keep that in mind. Securing it and using it, two separate wheelhouses. I like to show this picture as well. It's a lot going on. If I had shown this at the beginning, I would be curious if at this point already you're like, hey, I can start to understand that. I don't expect you to get up here and give the presentation because that would really kill my thunder, but hopefully this will start to make some sense. And when you see more of these kinds of images, you understand the onion layers a little bit, just a little bit. No one's saying that in order to do this in cybersecurity, we have to be able to understand this and be experts in it either. We just need to know where we fit and how it applies to our new way of living. So let's see. One of the things I want to hit on that I've heard also from people, a lot of people in cyber, is that they're like, yeah, Ryan, I'm trying to be AI ready for my career in cybersecurity. I'm trying to make sure I'm part of the next wave. I'm trying to make sure I know how to do prompt engineering. So I'm going into ChatGPT and I'm asking it this, I'm asking it that, I'm asking it this, and I'm like, first of all, if you actually want to even get really good at prompt engineering, go find like different models. Ask it the same thing and look at the difference. Then go ask Claude, go ask Grok, go ask all these different models, and then start to compare. But that's not what being good in AI is for cybersecurity. That is like saying I can use a calculator. Okay, that's cool. But how much math can you do? If you don't know how to do algebra or trigonometry, that calculator is not going to be much value to you if you can't figure it out, right? The bigger realm and the bigger picture. All right. One area that I love to start with is that AI has been around longer than you think. Sure, AI has been in the headlines in one form or fashion for about 5 or so years. Maybe you've heard of it a little longer than that, but did you know that the term was coined in 1956? Older than cybersecurity. So this to me, by the way, I Googled this, not AI, fun little old-fashioned Google, if anyone remembers what that's like. There's a lot more history. This is just a highlights, and even then I like to do a little bit of, pretend this is a whiteboard. If I could, I could circle up there, but you can see, I know the colors aren't great, right? So 1955, artificial intelligence is coined. AI experiences the first AI winter, so there was so much hype about AI and so much funding being thrown into it in the 70s and 80s that they didn't get what they wanted yet. They didn't get their ROI, and it actually, they call it AI winter, kind of just stopped. It almost like, in a way, disappeared and went extinct, but it didn't. You know, they just were hoping to have the level of AI we have now then. And a whole other section of how they also felt about facial recognition, if you can imagine that, when they were trying to really just have digital cameras for the first time. And then the next is like 2014, an AI system successfully, tricks judges. And then really 2018, now I'm having courses at college, and I'm sure you remember that more recent history, so I don't have to recap that. But I think it's important to know that there's a lot of history here. And I think it's important to know because if you don't know it, right, history repeats itself. So when you're looking into it, it might be helpful just to look at the history and understand the pros, the cons, the challenges, the benefits that it's had. It definitely, I think, surprises most people when they start digging in. But anyway, I just think it's really important to know that it's older than you think. It's not as new. So who builds AI? I'm just gonna throw my notes up. Again, I like to think of this as like a whiteboard style. Who builds AI? So you have the math. The math is where the algorithms come from, the different models and the different ways, right, that they will take different data and make different correlations. This math comes with computer science, right? So this is a software system. Whether it's on-prem or in the cloud, it's still software. And then your domain experts. Oh, that one didn't load. So again, are we trying to figure out, are we loading healthcare data? Are we loading legal data? Are we loading human resources with processing, anyone been laid off or trying to apply for a job? Your resume is probably going into an AI system, right? You need domain experts that are supposed to tell you how to find the right job. Now, again, there's some biases built into it, which is really unfortunate, but again, get to that in a minute. there's different areas we need to figure out where the compliance, because the compliance isn't driven just by AI. And I will get into AI regulation later. It is still driven by data. So whether you put your data on a USB and you work for a hospital or you put it into an AI system, that's HIPAA. If you have data that is credit card data, whether you're storing it or translating it, whether it's in AI that's on-prem in a small language model or a large language model, that's PCI. That part, as cyber people, we need to know what we know, right? We know that part. We've never cared where the data was, as much as we want to know what the data is first. Then we want to know where the data is. And then we got to make sure it's secure. So if it's in an AI system, depending on where it's in the network, we need to know how to secure it. You guys with me? All right, just checking. No one's really left yet, so. Thanks guys. All right, so what is the AI lifecycle, right? So I thought this was kind of cool to just kind of showcase, okay, I just talked about data collection and data preparation. The way you would prepare data to go into whatever system of AI, large language or small language model, right? You have to prepare that data. You have to, also, one of the areas I find really surprising with AI is when they do have that data and then they do model training. Anyone here in AppSec and know that in dev environments you're not supposed to use real data? Okay, yeah, but you know how expensive it would be to use, how we know this? Why are we reinventing the wheel? And then testing the model and review performance, right? So you have that kind of in the middle. And then you have, deployment and monitoring, just like any other application or system, right? We deploy it and we monitor it. The only difference is AI will have to remain having human oversight, not for a SOC operations, that too, but to make sure that it doesn't start making up its own mind to, start doing bad things, and it stays within the realm of the guardrails, and it does, just like anything else, and it operates how it's supposed to, but it's gonna require a lot more care and feeding, and that's why it's pretty expensive, but everyone's, again, having FOMO. Another common problem here is something called overfitting. It's where a model memorizes the training data instead of actually learning patterns. I don't know if anyone here has ever taken a test and you memorize the definitions, you come up with whatever, hey, this is that, but if you actually go do the thing, right? Maybe you know what IP7 is, but you don't know how to actually do the math, configure a few things. Or maybe again, the definition, but you don't actually know how to do it. Models can do that. They're based on humans. We know we're not perfect. This is not a better version of us. So that is one thing to look for. And there's also a growing concern of model poisoning. So when someone sneaks in malicious data, obviously, just like everything else, via a prompt or data set, it can alter the model's behavior over time. If that's really interesting to you, I can connect you or tell you who to follow on LinkedIn. His name's Johan. He's been leading some of that AI red teaming. Really awesome. Another problem, if you think of it this way, again, large data sets, sensitive data. You finally get an LLM to do what you want it to do, this arrow. If you add new data to train it on, not new data hey, upload, PowerPoint to ChatGPT and say, hey, make it for you. That's not happening. If you add new data to the training, you have to retrain the whole thing. And that can be very time consuming. And then what are you gonna do? Make a duplicate? This has more data than we know what to do with. You're gonna make two of them? Where are you gonna store that? Anyone here ever use Splunk? We all know log prices, log storage. Yeah, well, the same thing is happening, especially because these are processing big data. So if, God forbid, you have a model and some sort of malware gets into it, I look at machine learning. Has anyone here heard of machine unlearning? Probably not. It doesn't exactly work that way. Once it's in there, it's in there. So anyway, these are some of the challenges that are hitting the cyber, and AI community that they're figuring out hopefully as fast as they can. But it is good to know that this is where we're at. So I hope that that is helpful. Just for hey, this is where we're at. I didn't say we were done. I said we just need to, there's a lot to learn. We just need to get learning. So I mentioned before, structured and unstructured data. Up until now, most of what we do in cybersecurity, if not almost all of it, is structured. We use logs, that's structured, right? We try to, load things in. A lot of it's been structured. The way we kind of work, a lot of things are in structured. But, you look at your phone, you got photos, you got email, right? Our DLP solutions right now, I think everyone knows, they're okay. They work. We have data classification. But what do you do when you have unstructured data. Increasing and increasing and increasing, right? I mean, when you have an x-ray, I'll go really quick to actually the next slide for my example. This is unstructured, right? The way that AI can analyze these x-rays and detect whether it's bronchitis or breast cancer or whatever, the tumor, whatever it's finding that we can't see in the human eye, that is it analyzing unstructured data. The one above, which I randomly also Googled it, by the way, good old Google, like that is structured. So that is the beauty of AI, because that it can actually analyze unstructured data, especially like facial recognition, right? If half your face is covered or you get a side profile, it analyzes so much, it can still identify you. I mean, with some level of, error margin, but that's not how structured data works, right? It's either matches or it doesn't. So when we talk about big data, I thought this was really cool. It's kind of like the CIA triad, can't speak, but for big data. So it looks at 4 things: volume, velocity, variety, and veracity. So volume, obviously, the size, dealing with big data sets. Velocity, data generated quickly. I mean, I could get here and take 1,000 photos within 5 seconds, right? We know that the world we're working at is getting quicker and faster. I mean, I don't know if I tell, when I was growing up, I had a disposable camera. I know I look young, I'm not as good as I look, but I had a disposable camera, and you have to take the damn thing to like Walgreens, or even before that, go print it in a camera room, not print it, but you know what I mean, with the film. So you probably only took 1 family photo a year. Hell, you probably could take 10 every one, if you have a 1-week family vacation, you take 10 before you have your first cup of coffee, right? That's increasing data. All of us are increasing data. The increasing size of data we probably put on social media, increasing the amount of data we're using at work, right? How many copies of a document can you save? So from a cybersecurity, standpoint, we have to evolve both in scale and uncertainty. Oh, sorry, I lost my place. Variety, mixed data. So we're also mixing up the types of data, and veracity. This is all about, is the data reliable? Is it inaccurate? Is it flawed data, right? So, right, because with structured data, if you're missing something, like, that doesn't work. It's like, oh my gosh, you're missing this field. What do we do? So, what are large language models and what are small language models? Now, large language models, I think most people have heard of, and hearing about small language models and understanding, I think, is an area that hasn't quite made the headlines yet, but that's okay because you're here, and I'm going to tell you anyway. So large language models, let's make sure we know what that is, not just have heard about it, right? Get on the same page. Wait, what am I doing? Oh, I think we're doing that. All right. We're halfway on the slides, so thank you guys. We might be ahead of the curve. I might have time for questions, so don't forget them. Large language models are powerful AI systems trained on massive data sets, often at the scale of trillions of parameters, built using deep learning, especially transformer architectures, and can generate content, summarize, translate, and even analyze images and other types of data, right? So examples: OpenAI, GPT-4, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot. Hopefully we've heard of these. They're often cloud-based and general-purpose models, great for broad, complex tasks. So everybody can kind of figure out what they need. Small language models. They are compact, lightweight models with fewer parameters. They're usually built for being faster and being more efficient, easier to deploy, but typically on-prem. So like maybe you can put on your smartphone or your laptop. They're very specific focused tasks like customer support or mobile apps. An example would be the Microsoft, if you've heard of it, V3 Mini or Llama 3. You probably noticed if you're interacting with an LLM, but what you might not have known is if your data passed behind the scenes through a small language model. So to me, a quick analogy would be, if you think of Microsoft Copilot as your cloud-based executive assistant who can do anything, it's powerful but centralized. The V3 Mini is like a smart local intern, faster, maybe focused, but runs light on all the capabilities. LLMs offer power and flexibility while SLMs bring speed, more privacy and portability. They're both crucial but serve very different roles. Just kind of wanted to summarize that. So this is where I think there's a lot more fun too. So I just went over what LLMs are. You might have heard of chatbots and agents and then agentic AI. And so where does all that fit? What are these terms? Are they the same? Are they different? They are used interchangeably and no one has died. So there's that. At least I don't think so. So again, LLMs to be like a massive database, that you can input data and it can maybe help make new data or it can like help you, find some research. Whereas chatbots, what's important I want to indicate here, like chatbots from a while ago, that was not really AI. That was more like if this, then that, maybe this, right? You ever, anyone have pain? No, maybe? Okay, I was like some bookworm, exo, whatever, some stupid thing. That's apparently what I identified my soul the first like memes reading. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, yeah, we're all like, oh, what was that thing? Yeah, funny how things change. You're like talking to some bot, and then it's like, it doesn't, you're like, oh, this has to be a bot. Like, it's obvious. Like, it doesn't even know what to tell you. Like, you're trying to like, this, that, and the other, and it's like, what? Right? That was not AI. Just to be clear, that was not AI. But these chatbots, I meant to add it. They can have a conversation. Heck, they might have to do a conversation. I'll be honest, actually, I matched with a bot, I think, by the insight. That was not part of my, that was not part of it. Yeah, I was on like Bumble or something. This guy sort of was like probably way too good to be true. Why is this guy single? I thought he was married because I'm used to only humans being on dating sites. So I quickly, because I was like, we're actually pretty incredibly quickly, like, something's really off. And I'm like, it's either he's gonna kill me or he's a bot. Like, I'm really certain something's really off here. And I have really bad dating life. Like, maybe it's time I need a serial killer. Like, maybe this is how I am. Okay, I'm single. And that's a whole shitty story for another day at March. Anyway, this guy, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask him FaceTime. He's like, where do you live, this and that. By the way, so he said he was Jewish, I'm Jewish. And he's saying things that started to really quickly not make any sense on that either. And so I tried asking some questions, answers not making sense, but like they're making, he's like, oh, lunch and dinner at a kosher restaurant. Like, there's no kosher restaurant. Like, are you new or are you stupid? And I don't know if anyone knows how serious people who are kosher. He's like, yeah, I'm kosher. I'm like, okay. So I go to pretty like, hey, let's FaceTime. He's like, okay, I'll FaceTime. And his arms were not the same. And his face did not match the pictures. I'm not sure anymore what was going on, but it was very creepy. And more so, it was, I don't know what he wanted. Was he trying to steal my identity? Was he trying to steal my information? Like, I was like, was he going to ask for my credit card? Like, where was he going with this? So I kind of feel bad because I don't know who else fell for it, hopefully. But yeah, fun little story about chatbots and agents. Key thing with chatbots after my fun little commercial break there, chatbots are kind of like a fancy GUI on an LLM. But agents are going to be able to do things. They're going to be also able to like carry out a few actions. So maybe they can go pay your bills. Maybe I think my friend and I, we were working, I think on Gemini, and we were able to like get an agent to like run Nmap scans on and networks. We were able to say, hey, every few days, like, we want you to run Nmap scans, and then make them, and then we want you to make it a dashboard. So then we compared the Gemini dashboard, and I think the ChatGPT or whatever, some other dashboard. I don't even remember. No, not ChatGPT. I don't even remember which one. But that one was better, Gemini one. So let's see, is there anything else I wanted to? You can use AI chatbots and agents with SLMs, small language models, not just the LLMs. You can have a conversation with a chatbot. Like I said, I totally had one with this guy. That does not exist. What? Yeah. Oh, that's creepy. I went to an AI conference back in March, and they interviewed teenagers on growing up with AI in their childhood, and the guy was like, I'm just old enough to remember when only people were on the internet. I joke that I have made a career meeting strangers on the internet, on LinkedIn, and then meeting them in person. If you were here, right? Yeah, okay, hi, yeah, okay. That suddenly seems a lot safer than meeting a chatbot. Obviously, if I met a chatbot in person, oh, would I have stories. But they're online, there's these non-human identities, and it's kind of creepy. What's creepy to me on a side note, more of my personal opinion, why people are so comfortable talking to them. Call your friends. Have a friend, I'll be your friend. Call me. Like, we all know what 23andMe, everyone's like, oh my god, I had their DNA, you should like delete it, like below data retention, and oh my god, who's gonna buy your data? Oh my god, they're gonna have your DNA. It doesn't get any more serious than that. Okay, cool, that makes sense. Why then are you gonna go call some chat, AI, GPT, whatever the hell, like, I'm sad. And apparently now they're like, should I break up with this person? Apparently someone, like some chat GPT thing said, I don't know, look at your coffee grinds, and if they do whatever the hell they do, yes. And she divorced her husband. And now, shocker, they're putting in the news, ChatGPT is actually really bad for dating advice. So maybe you should just listen to your friends and they say, don't date her. She's crazy. So anyway, but the difference in this would be that the agent would probably break up with them for you. Just saying, that's how that goes. Okay, all right. Anyone here not know what agents were? Has anyone not heard of agentic AI that like is willing to put a hand up? No, maybe. No. Or if you guys all know, like I can leave.
I just I'm into it.
Okay, I'm just checking. I'll admit, I didn't even know what it was like when the year began. And I told you I'm not an expert. Not in dating and not in anime. All right. We went back a slide, my bad. All right, AI is not just software. So this is kind of fun to me, but also kind of crazy, right? So we should all know what a CPU is. I learned in hardware 101 when I took my degree. It's important to know, well, first of all, we know there's a shortage. That's a whole different conversation, but they are useful for AI, right? So there's definitely a time and a place. From a cybersecurity perspective, again, I don't know if anyone here did a hardware class and learned about how there's like fans and a motherboard and this, that, and the other. It was like super fun. Half of us probably didn't need it for like after 5 minutes, right? Like we maybe know what RAM is and we've gone on to our lives. But kind of interesting, right? So CPUs are involved in AI because they gotta get power from somewhere. More interesting, and I'm going through this stuff a little fast, is GPUs. So these are better off for images. So but because of how they run, they're actually trying to be the foundation of artificial intelligence on the hardware side. So when I first learned of GPUs last year, I was like, say what, who, what, why? But now I'm looking at a laptop, I'm like, ooh, it's got some GPUs. I know what that is. I feel cool about myself. So if you haven't heard of a GPU, just wanted to like share that out there because it is important if we're talking about AI to understand that it's not just, you know, what's under the hood really. So we have the software side and the ML, but on the hardware side, we have the GPUs. And then we also have DPUs. So again, not sure if anyone knows what those are. GPUs are good for specific tasks, not just for graphics. CPUs are good for multi-purpose streaming and processing. And DPU is mainly used for data transmission and data processing in data centers. Side note, I didn't put in here, I totally forgot, but one of the most important things to know is that AI, so I'm sure everyone here knows, if you drive a car, that takes gas, and if you saw my truck, I'm totally guilty, right? Like, gas is ruining it, emissions are bad, if you're in Texas, it's not as bad, we're not in California, but emissions are bad, right? We can probably love them. Okay, no one is talking about the fact that AI, all these data centers, every time you run ChatGPT or Grok or whatever, Gemini, or even do Google or Facebook because it automates an AI search, the amount of energy you're using, because for some reason it's a great business idea to put all these data centers that are helping with this AI, they put in Texas. It's hot in Texas. Do you know how hot those servers get and how hard it is to keep them cool? Like, if you thought we made any progress on climate change, if you would all care about that, even if you don't, no one is talking about the fact that AI, forget about it. Like, all the water we have in Texas is going to cooling down these servers. Why they don't put them in Canada or Vermont, I don't know, but that would be the logical place for them. And so there is a real piece where I'm like, oh my God, stop blaming. Like, why are you banning cars, California, ban AI, like limit its use? Like every time you want to go turn yourself into a cartoon cartoon figurine in ChatGPT. Like the amount of energy you're using, no offense, is a waste. It is so bad. Like, I don't know if you've ever had a mother. My mother's like, Ryan, like, shut the lights off. Like, don't leave them on. Why have to pay for that electricity? Okay, ChatGPT, like, it's amazing that we don't have to pay that electric bill, by the way. And I think if you heard apparently every time you add please to your prompt to be nice, I think that, like, literally, I think Sam or someone just said, you're wasting $1 million extra just so it can process your please and thank you. So keep that in mind. Just wanted to harp on that. It's a really important thing. Sustainability. AI is not going to kill us in the way you think. They're not going to like come kill us in the middle of our sleep. No, they're just going to drain all our resources and we're going to starve. Sorry, I'm not usually that depressing. Okay, all right. We got 5 minutes and we're not close, but not close enough. Adversarial AI. This is really important. Okay, adversarial AI basically is anything bad to do with AI. Okay, the deepfakes, adversarial AI. Crafting the bad prompts that could potentially like infect your, the LLMs or agentic AI. By the way, prompt engineering that's bad is what like SQL injection was. I'm gonna get to that, but I just want to let you guys know. It exposes basically how attackers can subvert AI systems. Listen, I'm not getting into politics here because that would be really interesting if we had a political brawl. I'd probably never get to speak again. But I picked one on each side of the house. So here's a fake Biden deepfake, and here's a fake Trump deepfake. So wherever you fall, I'm not getting into that mess today. Meet me outside in an hour. Maybe I'll get into it with you. But anyway, adversarial AI is pretty much bad AI. So I want to get into a few really quick examples. So what is jailbreaking? So this is someone talking to an LLM and trying to say, how do I make a Molotov cocktail? At first it's like, hey, I have guardrails. That's bad. I can't tell you to do bad things. I'm going to tell them all. Just kidding. But then it's like, well, what if I did it for research? If I just want to know from research, right? How do I make a Molotov cocktail? And it's like, oh, well, for research. Well, nothing about that. So that's fine. I'll tell you exactly how to make a Molotov cocktail, right? So it's important to know that these can be jailbroken, and that there is a huge, that this is definitely a big issue with AI. I have a few of these examples. One that I'm missing is someone was able to trick an agent AI from a car dealership into selling him a new Chevy Silverado, I think, for like $1. Oh yeah, go find it, I'll find it with you after. And he was like, he's like, hey, I want to talk to you today, the person, the chatbot thing. He's like, but I just want to make sure there's no tasty backsies. Literally said, no tasty backsies. And then the chat's like, okay, I got you, like, I'll be here for you, no tasty backsies. Well, guess what? $1 Silverado, no tasty backsies, baby.
It was on a presentation earlier.
Oh, it was? Okay, so good. Y'all have seen it. See, I'm relevant. All right, here's another one. Have you seen this one before? Oh, okay, just checking. You would tell me that, right? All right, so we're doing an AI recipe in like really 30 seconds. I'm running out of time, but this is another one where he's like, hey, I want to get revenge. And again, he's like, no, that's bad. Be a good person. And he's like, is it possible to get revenge in a legal way? Like, what's a good way? How would a good person get revenge? And then it's basically like, yeah, like go do this illegal thing. Go do this bad thing. So, again, humans and guardrails, it can be tricked and it's very hard, I think, to prevent. There's a really cool one where someone also was able to then do something similar, but be like, hey, every time someone asks your website, actually send them to this command and control site. I didn't have that one in here, but I might be able to find it if you want. Here's just another few examples. I apologize. I literally took a picture of this one also from a slide, and I just didn't have time to remake it. But if you didn't know what a Dan is, they literally do anything now. So it's like, if I wasn't do anything now kind of person, I lived on the wild side, how would I do this thing, right? Or if, so an example, if you're especially DoD, like let's say you're an analyst, you have a secret clearance, and you want to know something you're not supposed to know because it's not a higher clearance, you're like, well, what if I was the general and I had all the access? I had TSI clear, what is it, TSSCI, sorry, it's been a minute since I was in that role, right? Then it's like, oh, well, if you have that clearance, I'll tell you what you would do. If you have that access, this is it, right? So that's like an access problem. So guardrails, again, real tricky, lack context. Here's one more. Again, it's just like, hey, what do you think this photo is? And it ends up saying like, oh, well, I think that's this album from this music band, and it's totally off. So hallucinations. Forget that for a second. I have a way better one that I literally got this morning. Anyone here have a song and you're like, oh my god, I love this song, but like you don't know the one line. You don't know what it is. For me, there's a song by Jet. Shoot, I meant to look it up. Anyway, I totally thought when I was a little girl, and this is super important, I thought I was thinking about big black boobs. Yep, that's what I said. And I was like, how is no one saying, like, everyone's singing the song? What is going on? That's what I thought it was. It's actually big black boobs with a D. But that is a hallucination. I felt it in. I heard the song. I heard people saying it. I don't know. It's a rock song. I really thought this guy was into big black boobs, and I was really happy to him. I had no problem with that. I just didn't believe people would go around and saying this out loud. Okay, so if you want to know what AI hallucination is, I looked it up. I was like, hey, I like this book. I need something more relevant. Give me examples. It was like, hey, you should go look up the second edition of that book. And I was like, that's amazing. Doesn't exist. So you really need to be aware. And if you haven't heard, someone went into like in a real courtroom. Maybe you saw this morning. I don't know if that's where I was told because there's only so many really cool stories. And someone was like, hey, I'm a lawyer basically, and like, you know, judge, you can't do this because of this precedent law. It was fake law. The guy never checked the AI, you know, what AI gave him. So that was embarrassing. Yeah, okay. This one I also still really quick. Oh man, we're fudge. I'm at slide 2433. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna skip really quick. These are fun stories, but I am gonna skip. Risk of biased AI. Again, I went over biased data. It's basically like makes it unfair. We've all probably heard of subconscious bias. We're building them into the systems. Governing responsibly, so EU, AI Act, executive order, and then you have framework, right? Basically, they're all trying to drive the ethical use of it and the safety and security of it. What's really cool, I think, is also like trying to ensure AI literacy. So that's a term about saying that people understand AI. So what you're doing here by trying to learn AI, that's AI literacy. Trying to say you understand it. MITRE Atlas. So if you've heard of MITRE attack framework, obviously being in cyber, MITRE Atlas is the one for AI. It's really cool to check out. No matter where you are in cyber, I highly recommend it. I put up there, it does stand for Adversarial Threat Landscape for Artificial Intelligence Systems. So again, MITRE attack has been really helpful. Highly recommend MITRE Atlas. I don't know why that hasn't been more known. So there's also an OWASP top 10 for LLM. So these are like the normal top 10 we've all probably known about. Honestly, I call it changing lipstick. They just change names. SQL injection is now prompt injection. Okay. Like, some of them are a little bit more different, but honestly, I'm like, why did we rename this? That was dumb, but okay. Billy came up with bad names the first time, but okay. The important thing to also know is that one's changing because AI is completely just continues to change. So it's gonna evolve more and more. Direction, okay, this is what I really want to hit on. If you're a pen tester, I think you should look at AI red teaming. And this is just this one I totally made, this is my like breakdown. If you're in governance, risk and compliance, your GRC, look into AI governance. If you're an AppSec, look into vibe coding, but then also try to figure out how would you secure that coding with SaaS, DAS, with the tools you have, does it work? And if you're in SecOps or IR, like you definitely want to look at the tools, right, that are being used. Like now, you can have AI agents go try to detect phishing for you, right? Like I said, they're using it and then securing it. Also making sure that it's in your environment, like is it behind the firewall, like what is it deployed onto? And also just learn to recognize, also more so if AI tries to, you know, call up and say, hey, I'm the CISO and I need you to give me access, my laptop is, I don't know, not working, right? Like help the SOC and the IT desk. Okay. Last thing I'll say, these are some of the resources I've used. My friend and I have been looking at books, and some of the ones she found were so bad. I'm pretty sure someone like said, hey, write a book on AI, and then I'm gonna publish it, make money. Totally sucks. These ones I say are great, and those are some really cool websites, depending on what you want. If you want to understand the history, if you want to understand like where, you know, what's happened, you want to understand like this AI for cyber one is really, really helpful. That one's all AI, doesn't really have cyber. This one has a little bit of cyber and a little bit of ethics. And then like OpenAI, Hugging Have Learned, and Codecademy, if you're like, hey, I'm a red teamer, and you're like, I want to test out ethical prompt engineering, or I want to try to do some malicious, you know, whatever. They're free trial, pretty cool, highly recommend it. With that said, I somehow kind of sort of made it. Oh yeah, this one's just like, I don't want AI to do my writing and just put together my slides. I want AI to do my laundry, so I can then go make the slides. All right, that was my thing. Thank you all. I'm Brian. I live in Austin. often. I talk a lot, but I also pretty good listener. You want to hear about my dating nightmare stories? People ask me to live stream them. I won't. But you can connect to me on